Hello everybody, DevilDrive572 here, and I'm back with some World End Economica Volume 1. I kinda want to go through these, both this one and the other, before Volume 3 comes out, which I'm hoping is soon. I want to at least try and play that day one. At least try, is what I should say. So, I believe this is when we met up with this chick. Okay. I was trying to find out a voice for her now, wasn't I? Mature, female. Can already see the cross. I wonder what else there is. Probably motherly or whatever. Oh. Figure it out as I go along. As I opened the frosted glass door, the woman watching the television, placed near the ceiling with her head resting in her arms propped up on the counter, lowered her glance listlessly. While I was overcome with the urge to just shut the door and go to another store, the woman raised her voice before I got the chance. God damn it. Oh, jeez. Okay, this might take a couple minutes. I think this one works. Table for one. The kitchen was run by the silent, stubborn, elderly husband of the family, so he never showed any signs of affection. Of course, no reply came from the kitchen. Oh no, I don't want that. I thought I was pressing the other button. Been so long since I did anything with this game, I guess. Even so, it was too late to leave. So I entered the store with a heavy gait and set up camp in a corner seat. Oh, why am I here? Is probably the thought. While mountains of hydrocarbons sat at the moon's poles, they still couldn't be used for luxuries such as making plastic. As a result, most of the store's equipment was made from either wood or iron. Both could be gathered on the moon and were easily decomposable by microbes when thrown away. Easily decomposable things when thrown away up on the moon. You know, we could actually learn a lot down here on Earth right now from that, then. An iron cup was placed with a clang on my tattered wooden table, which was no doubt found in a dump somewhere. The woman, beaming, then poured me water from high up. The water seemed like it should splash out, but it all stayed in the now perfectly filled cup. You shut up, you delinquent. Crab omelet over fried rice. I made my order bluntly without a proper reply. The woman was about 20 years old and had a bright, healthy... That's my own grammar right there. Awesome. Had bright, healthy hair. She had been working here for a while and seemed to know a lot of the customers, so she probably lived in the area. One crab fried! Gosh! It's been forever since I adjusted my voice. One crab fried! The woman... Yeah, oh, God. Wow, that transition right there, awesome. The woman yelled chiller. Tongue! I think I need to do some tongue exercises. Give me a minute. One training montage later. Okay, and I know for a fact that I've been giving her a bit too high of a pitch, too young. I'm gonna have to adjust that again. Gosh darn it. The woman yelled cheerfully towards the kitchen. Then, of all the things she could have done, she sat down across from me. Well? Okay. Except her body was off to the side and her vision was fixed on the TV. She seemed interested in some plot point in the drama she was watching. I heard that actor there is in the area right now. He's going to negotiate his next title and bask in space at the same time. A beautiful actress from around here's accompanying him. I didn't ask, but she informed me anyway. Don't you just kinda hate it when people give you information that you don't ask for? Gosh, sometimes. I ended up glancing at the screen as I silently took my PC out of my bag. He's a little too handsome, though. While that might be true, I stifled my urge to reply with a "so what" as I placed my PC on the table and switched it on. Yeah. I'd have trouble stifling that "so what." The PC was loaded with financial information and charts of historical prices for the 4,000 stocks on the Lunar Stock Exchange. Oh yeah. We're gonna be billionaires with this shit, aren't we? Fuck. I can only hope. In order to make a profit tomorrow, I had to find my next target. Oh, why use our power? I raised my glance after being asked a question and found my eyes meeting the woman's. She had beautiful almond-shaped eyes that were even brighter in color than her hair. She must have led an easy life, I thought to myself. Nevertheless, it'd be helpful if I could use the restaurant's electricity. Even if I did decide to go back to that half-assed net cafe, the rates were cheaper at night. The problem was that my battery might not last until then. I silently took out my adapter and plugged it into the cord that the woman, still seated, had lazily dragged my way with her foot. As I hugged the ground in order to plug my adapter into the outlet, the woman mischievously twitched the toes in her sandals. That wasn't what she said to me once I raised my head, but she wasn't even wearing a skirt. What? Just... Wait, what? Wait. Hold on, how to... What? The hell's up with her? Yeah, seriously, what the hell? Naturally, I ignored it and booted up my PC. After that, the woman stopped messing with me, and the only sounds in the restaurant were the filtered voices from the television and the swinging pots in the kitchen. This was a quiet area without much foot traffic, and it felt like time passed slowly here. The thing that made me go far out of my way to come here, other than the fact that they wouldn't report me to the cops, was this tranquility. What did you eat yesterday? Well, it was pretty tranquil until the woman suddenly asked me a question. Why did what I had to eat yesterday have anything to do with you? I ignored her as I stared at my screen, but she wouldn't stop looking at me. God damn it. Her face, visible from the corner of my eye, didn't make it look like she was particularly interested in the question, but she wouldn't turn away. Defeated, I raised my glance, and at that moment she grinned. Pasta. Fucking pasta. That's it, nothing else, just pasta. I answered, then turned back to my screen. I updated my data while I was in the cafe, so I searched for any corporate news that might affect the market in the next few days. From where? I feel that was more real. From where? As I clicked my tongue, the woman's smile, as expected, disappeared. Yes! She didn't get mad or stand up, though. That doesn't suit you, you know. She said this so seriously that instead of getting mad, I ended up blushing. She's treating me like a complete child. Dude, you're away from home. Yet smart enough to go into the stock exchange. Completely avoid the cops. I think there's something up. Big Bull Cafe. It was an arrogantly named place for a nearly illegal operation. You see, bulls were symbols of strong markets. For that reason, there are bronze bulls placed in front of the biggest financial districts in the world, like America's Wall Street, or the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So for me, the place was good luck. Huh, so Soralt's handmade pasta. Soralt? Wasn't there a real skinny guy there? That guy owns the place. Owns the... I was a little heartbroken at those words. I was sure that he was some loser who worked there by the hour, but to be the owner of a store, big or small, was a fine example of a capitalist. Not only that, I was heartbroken to hear that I was eating his pasta. I mean, it was good. I taught him how to make those. The woman beamed with pride. And then I went to depression. Wait, if she taught him, then where did they know each other from? Don't tell me they used to be lovers. As I dreamed up juicy scenarios in my head, I stared vacantly at her face as she turned back to the television. So, was that lunch? Dinner? Huh? Did you eat that for lunch or dinner? I didn't have the slightest idea as to why she was asking all these details. It was probably because of some stupid made-for-woman horoscope that she watched every day. Why the hell can I actually believe this now? I bet it was something like, if you ask a boy you meet today what and where he ate for each meal yesterday, your lucky color is yellow, and your lucky word is optimism. God damn it, optimism, really? Are you serious? Fucking optimism of all things. Dinner. What about lunch? I'd set out to click my tongue, but after being told straight-faced that it didn't suit me, I ended up holding back. The woman might have noticed this fact because she was grinning slightly. God damn it. I answered her after telling her in my mind to shut up. I didn't need it. Really? This time I didn't keep myself from clicking my tongue, or from getting angry for that matter. Why she wanted to know these things in such detail completely baffled the fuck out of me. I'm sorry, I really wanted to put that in there. But yeah, it completely baffled me. And what do you care? Right as I turned her question around on her, a plate of fried rice hit the counter with a thud. The woman stood up and brought the plate over. Then, right as I thought that she was going to place it on the table, she kept the plate in her hand and looked down at me. You really didn't eat anything for lunch? As if to show her that I was trying my hardest not to click my tongue, I started to scrape my upper lip with my teeth. Yep, that is one way to hold back. No, I didn't. I don't eat lunch on weekdays. What about today? Today is an exception, since I was driven out of the cafe at a weird time. So what? Anyways, give me my food that you're just holding there. Eating a proper lunch was something special to me, since I usually only did it on Sundays when the Lunar Stock Exchange was closed. Eating lunch on a weekday was rare. Damn! How the hell can he get by? As I glared at the woman, she heaved a small sigh and placed the plate on the table, completely unperturbed. The smell of the sweet and sour sauce. Ooh, sweet and sour sauce. Whetted my appetite. My interest shifted from the now strangely annoying woman's questions to the food in front of me. You need to eat three real meals a day. The woman talked to me while standing and staring at me, digging into the fried rice. And eat a little more neatly. Mind your own business, I muttered mentally as I piled a mountain of fried rice and crab omelet onto my spoon and shoved it all in my mouth. Yep, not surprising. The woman sighed and then returned listlessly to her counterside chair. What a cryptic, stupid... Wow! Yep, Yoshiharu's an idiot. Well, more or less a jackass. I focused on my food, stuffing my stomach with such vigor that I barely had time to even sigh. After filling my stomach with fried rice, I ordered the ayu jelly, a sweet and sour gelatinous dish. It was unusual to see this dessert around here, but it was definitely delicious, if a little expensive. Since today was a cursed day, I thought that it might be just the exorcism I needed. Fair enough. You've got the money, right? The woman doubted me after I made my order, but of course I had enough money to have a regular meal. You could rent a cheap apartment for 400 mules a month, so I could live on my own pretty easily. The reason I actually couldn't was because there weren't any places a minor with no guarantor could rent. I heard that on Earth, people in my situation were sometimes able to make it happen. Unfortunately, lunar cities were only accessible via orbital elevator, and so everyone's identity was known. If I went to rent a house, they'd immediately run my fingerprints and an iris scan, and then contact my parents. Unless you were an extraterrestrial, if you're on the moon, they know who you are and where you came from. I guess it's one of those whole, I know where you live kind of deals. Have I ever stiffed you? just because you've paid in the past doesn't mean that you're sure to pay next time. And anyway, you ran away from home, right? You need to take better care of your money. If only she knew. I felt a strange sense of comfort in the fact that her lecture wasn't about my running away itself, and overall, I agreed with the idea that people should take care of their money. You don't have to tell me that. Oh, really? The woman shrugged, then carried the Ayu jelly from the counter where it had just appeared. It was hard to argue with her, since I was, in fact, wasting money here. Okay, wasting money on necessities is not really something I would say. Necessities including food. But the dessert is kinda luxury, so maybe. I was confident that I had more money than anyone else my age. What's more, I'd never gone on a wild spending spree before. The magic of compound interest made the world go round. If one mule today turned into 10 in a year, then 3 years after that it'd be 10,000. Compared to what my dad would make in his entire life, earning roughly the same amount every month from swaying in the fields to grow vegetables, in 5 years there'd be no way I'd be eating in a lame restaurant like this. That woman might be making fun of me now, but I'll bet I'd eventually be wearing a stylish suit and living in a high-rise apartment in Newton City. And of course, I was not going to stop there. That wasn't where my dream ended. It's where it began. If you're some rich actor, you might be able to bask in space on the opposite side of the moon with some beautiful woman by your side. But if you were one of the wealthiest here in this lunar city, you could go even further. You can make all the emotions and desires you feel when you look up at space come true. I ate the sweet and sour clump of Ayu jelly, and I looked at my screen to choose the tree that would grow me money. I was immersed in a familiar daydream. This place was the forefront of humanity, a golden city of wealth and prosperity. I would run through the city's gates. I'd outwit the geniuses and prodigies from Earth to take my place there at last. I silently got myself worked up during this quiet early afternoon in a Chinese restaurant. I moved my touch mouse back and forth, and just as I brought up the display for the prominent, even on the moon, investment bank E.J. Rochford, I hope I'm saying that correct, Rochford, customers entered the store. I thought it was strange that customers would come in at this hour and raised my head. At that moment, a feeling ran throughout my body like an ice cube that had been stuck up my asshole. I swear this is one of the best quotes. Like an ice cube that had been stuck up my asshole. What the fuck kind of a thing is that? Welcome. Oh, fuck. This doesn't look good. Two, please. Yes, sir. Table for two. The woman said this in her usual carefree voice, but the words barely entered my ear. I lowered my cap even farther over my eyes and hunched over, trying to hide the reflection of my PC display. Looking at their clothes, it was unmistakable. The pair who had just arrived at the table on the other side of the restaurant were police officers on patrol. I believe that's... I think he's B and that's A? I'm trying to think. Oh, jeez. I'll get the tension done. Tension done. Same here. Oh no, that's B. I'll get the tension done. Same here. Very well. To tension. It seemed like they just chose this place randomly during their patrol. But who likes seeing the same restaurant as the cops? Not only that, I think those two were the ones who were at the Big Bull Cafe, according to my memory. The patrol route for the police didn't include going into cafes, so someone had to have tipped them off somehow. I was not some sort of invisible man, so someone surely must have seen me hanging around a weird place at a weird time, whoever that someone was. If they told the police that there was a shady-looking kid around, there'd only be a handful of places they'd search. It was totally possible that those two were looking for me. That might also be the reason that the policeman facing me was glancing at me now and then. But to think that he'd take off and lead us on this wild goose chase. The policeman with his back to me suddenly spoke up. The cop, looking at me, waited a moment before replying to his partner. Well, it was just some big shots looking at maps all day who decided how wide our area of jurisdiction was to be. And there wasn't a public survey system in that area. Well, in that area either. But I think that if he were hiding somewhere, it would have been in that net joint. The storekeeper there was a pretty sketchy looking guy too. Maybe we should grab him and rough him up a little. Don't judge by appearances. He ended up having a pretty impressive history, didn't he? Yeah, I guess. Man, I should have studied harder at the academy. I never thought I'd be assigned to the boonies like this. Location has nothing to do with it. You just need to carry out your duties. You're very right about that. So they really were looking for someone. But the owner, that Sorrelt guy, had an impressive history? I couldn't even begin to imagine. After all, that afro! What do we do after this? If we go by the book, we'd start the usual thing with questioning people. His co-worker, facing me, took a sip of water and went quiet, as if in thought. I got the feeling that he was taking a good hard look at me. In my mind, I was praying that they gave up on the questioning and just went back to their nest. If we call in for reinforcements, we're just going to get laughed at. Looks like we've got no choice. Anyway, our duty is to keep public order. Cracks in public security in public safety begin in the smallest of places. Even if it is just one boy, we can't just let him get away. My heart felt like it might jump right out of my mouth. Now there was no mistake. They were tipped off by someone and were out looking for me. Lurasays were nuts about keeping public order. Even in the Red Valley, where suspicious guys wandered the streets, there was not even the faintest trace of any real danger. It was just a degenerate, pleasure-seeking town. Everyone knew just how risky committing an act of physical violence was in a place like this. This small, after all. If you were deported by the Residential Management Court, there'd be no question that you'd never be able to come back. The only people exempt from that form of punishment were people who were born on the moon. Even then, if you committed second-degree murder or worse, it was not so certain. Of course, I wouldn't be subject to the penal code just because I ran away from home, but the overall zeal for maintaining public order would mean that I'd be sent back home. After that, I'd probably be forced to report to a local facility every day until I became an adult. While that happened, I'd grow further and further away from the front line of the world, and would eventually be swallowed up by the masses. I fixed my darting eyes on my hands and thought desperately. How should I escape from here? If I grabbed my PC and ran, the plug would get in the way. Do I unplug the adapter from my PC and then take off running with just the unit? My identity could be given away by the adapter, but it was still better than being captured. Or should I stay still right here and wait for them to leave? I'd like to do that if it's possible, but that officer staring at me seemed like he was about to stand up and shout, "Hey you," to me at any moment. My cold sweat dripped off onto my keyboard. Wait, that woman wouldn't have ratted me out, would she? Would she? I think this might be a good stopping point right here. Leave it a little bit of a cliffhanger for all of us. So, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Sub if you want. And hopefully I might see you next time. Later.